Welcome to FCLE Seminar, a Florida Civic Literacy Exam podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Musso, and today we're joined by Dr. Jason Ampel, founder of Learning Liaisons, an online and in-person prep option. How cool is that? I'm happy to have him as the first guest on FCLE Seminar to discuss how to get your Civic on. Thanks for coming to the show today, Dr. A.
Right. Thanks for having me, Mercedes. I'm excited to be here. It's going to be fun.
I'm really excited. Dr. A, let's start by diving into the Florida Civic Literacy Exam.
hmm
Can you give our listeners a quick overview? What is that test about?
Yeah. So funny is I had no idea about the FCLE until I met somebody at a conference and her name was Mercedes. That's what a coincidence. And, and then I started researching. So for everybody listening, that you got two groups of people that this potentially affect. You have your high school students, specifically your seniors, which is about 170,000 of them every year in the state of Florida. And then you also have your other group, which is your college students. So maybe you're a high school student who stumbled on this. Maybe you're a college student who stumbled on this. But more importantly, if you're a parent listening to this is very important stuff. So basically, um, in 2021, the governor passed a law where it's Florida Civic Literacy Exam. So if you're a high school senior and you want to go to any college, university in the state of Florida, you should pass this exam in high school. I use the word should because it's not required to graduate high school. However, if your plan is to go to a college anywhere in the state of Florida, if you do not pass it in high school, or if you're in an AP course and some other ways around it, getting certain scores on your exams, it's going to be on your college audit when you go to any university, and you have to not only pass it, but some institutions require you to take an entry level civics course. So, what does that mean? That means extra time and extra money out of your or your family's pocket, depending on who's paying for your education. And plus, it's going to compound that pressure. So in high school, it's like, oh, yeah, it's not a serious exam. I don't need to pass it in high school. I'm just, some people take it seriously, some people don't. But now when you're in college and you're having fun and you're learning and you're experiencing new things and extracurricular activities and clubs and whatever you're doing on your next level of education, you're going to have this thing dangling over your head and it ain't going to go anywhere. And you're not going to be able to graduate until you pass that exam. So it's basically the same exam, but it's going to be a little bit harder when you get to college to pass it. So just want to reiterate, high school students don't need to pass it to graduate. However, it's probably the smarter idea to take it seriously in high school to get it over with. So that's one less barrier you have to overcome when you're in college. So I mean, the exam covers it's 4 different sections. Congress and government and Supreme Court cases, all that kind of stuff that you learn in high school. Let's be honest, not everybody loves social studies. I was in the classroom. Some people really enjoy it, but most of them just do it because they have to do it. And it's so much content on this exam. So there's a lot of stuff on this exam that people either is not interesting to them or just don't even remember, didn't pay attention in social studies class. So imagine if you're in college and you're out of high school, past all the social studies requirements you had to do. Now you're just floating around there having to take this civics exam on stuff that's really not interested to you, have nothing to do with your goals in college. So that's basically what the exam is.
So this exam, just to reiterate, is necessary for graduation in the state of Florida from State of Florida University. And there's ways that you may have had like the AP credit, or you took a course, or you pass it in high school. So there's some workarounds. But overall, you have to have your civics literacy on
Mhm.
in Florida.
Yeah, and one thing you did mention that I didn't talk about in my 2 different groups, which you just hit on, is if you're coming from out of state to a Florida university, you still have to pass this. So that's a good point also. So regardless if you are born and raised in Florida or you've been in high school in Florida, if you're coming from another state or anywhere in the world to a lovely Florida university, you still have to pass this exam.
I mean, let's talk about the nuts and bolts. Pass scores. What's required to pass?
So you need people don't believe it's, you only need a 60% to pass this exam. I'll say that again, 660. So for you students out there, 0 to 100 on a test, a 60, that's a D. right? So, so I'm not saying it like,
Yeah.
this is easy to pass because it's not, right? You got 80 questions. It's a long exam. You need 60% correct. So the $1 million question is, why is the pass rates so low? So for example, like I said it before, that there's about approximately 170,000 high school seniors that take this exam. Now, I've talked to a lot of school leaders, especially people in social studies departments, as I was building this, and I always had a series of questions. Your experience, if you had a guesstimate, and you can't give me an exact number, what percentage of your high school seniors do you actually think take this exam seriously? And it was just coming there and just Christmas tree, and every person I spoke to was about 50%. So I was expecting a lot lower than that. I was going to think 25%, 30, no, about 50%. And that's been a consistent number even. So they have the 2023-2024 school year data, not only for school districts, but universities right on the FCLE page. There are Excel sheets you could download. So the on average, it's about 49% is the pass rate out of 170,000 high school seniors, right? And those range from 43%, and everything is lined by school district. You could go find your school district and see exactly how many people take it. But on the university level, um, the pass rates are higher. You know, I think the lowest one is like in the low 70s. And mind you, it does list all of the universities too by name and the number of students that take it. And the highest, I think UCF, go Knights. Got to always say that when I say that. My alma mater there, worked there, and 2 degrees from there. I think it's about 95%.
Oh,
But it just depends. So it ranges. So it is an issue at the college level, but not as big as an issue as at the high school level. But you have to understand, like I've been saying, is one's required at the college, high school is not required to graduate. So that definitely plays into that pass rate number. But one of the things I talk about with the school districts when we do meetings is we use the term college ready. Are your high school students college ready? Well, what do you mean? It's a civics exam. Well, meaning you got to be ready to go to college, because if you don't pass this exam, it's on your audit. So being ready to walk in that door with the barriers already knocked down that you need to before you start your coursework is very important. And some of the feedback I'm getting from the school districts, we actually have a charter school that's piloting it also in Brevard County. And they said that they pitched to their parents in their school that they are getting kids ready for college. So that's what drew their attention to that, to pilot it, because that's the push. So is that the push for all high schools? I would assume so, but do they really push it verbally and say it out loud and make sure that their students are doing everything that they need to be ready for college?
that's so interesting to me because the college readiness angle makes sense because it's one more thing you could do in high school that that for maybe for students who are looking at that path
Hmm.
that readies them for going to college in Florida, and takes care of that criteria. And then that does save you a course, or it saves you time. It
Hmm.
saves you an exam in college. But
I mean, it's just a matter of people actually doing the work. And at the end of the day, putting in 19 hours of total time spread over a month, maybe, there's not a lot of time to get college ready for my high school students out there, not have to worry about it. And for my college students out there, getting this off your audit so you don't have to worry about it.
just for review, we talked a little bit about the Florida Civic Literacy Exam, why it's necessary, past scores, and what parents know and don't know. I I would like to wrap it up with what are some final thoughts for our listeners, and where can school leaders and students find you on social media, or like how do we sign up for FCLE prep?
So I can make it real easy. I know if you're a college student and a high school student, if you hear me say Facebook, you're probably going to laugh and roll your eyes. But if you go to Facebook and search FCLE, there's nothing really out there. You'll find our group. So you'll find that that's the first place you can go. It's an easy search, FCLE. So if you put Florida Civics Prep in Facebook or Instagram, you will find us. So there's consistent content going out, practice questions, engaging content. But if you go to the website, and I'm sure we could put the link in the description of this podcast, flcivicsprep.com. So flcivicsprep.com. If you go to the website, so if you're a student, you'll see literally right there when the page loads, there's a big button to sign up, but right next to it is try for free. And there's a pilot version that has Comp 1. So it's the same exact course as the full version. We just only have the first section in Comp 1 of the exam on there so you can see what the look and feel of it. You can do that. There's a big button on the top for a free practice test so you can get an idea of what the questions look like and what to expect on the exam. If you're a student listening to this and you want it for free, it's very easy. Go to the website. There's a big button that says pilot. Take that link and share it with your school leader. If you're a high school student, share it with your social studies teacher, share it with your principal, send it to the district office. If you're a college student, send it to your, I don't know, your advisor or your assessment department, whoever offers that prep. Because I know institutions have some sort of workshops and stuff, but if you want to sign up for it on your own, it's real easy. You could study for this and pass it within a month.
This is excellent. So I want to shout out Andy Wade because he's an excellent teacher, social studies. He is able to communicate civic literacy in a storytelling way. And I think that's why it sticks, at least for me as a learner. So I shout out to Andy Wade. Also, I'm in the larger picture. I want to thank you for what you're doing as an entrepreneur, American entrepreneur. So thanks for coming on the show today to discuss the FCLE pilot. If you're looking to pass the FCLE and then get your civics on with FCLE prep, or visit this podcast, FCLE seminar, and share what you've learned with us. We're on Spotify and YouTube, and we love hearing from you. That's it for today's Civic Literacy Exam prep. Check out my buddy Dr. A and sign up for his stuff. I'm Mercedes Musto. I'll catch you next time. Until then, keep asking those big questions, and thanks for listening to the FCLE Seminar, a Florida Civic Literacy Exam podcast, so you can pass the test.